The purpose of this short video is to cover the basics of planning a layout for your mosquito system so that you can step through our system planner and work out the number and type of nozzles, fittings, and tubing that will be required. The easiest way to communicate this is by walking through an example property. You should start with the dimension sketch. For our example, here's the footprint of the house. Here are the front and back doors. In the back are a patio, a pool, and a garage apartment. Almost the whole property is surrounded by a fence. The planning process starts with defining the area you want to protect. Covering the backyard is most common. The basic principle is that the nozzle circuit will trace the perimeter of the area to be protected, with nozzles installed every 10 feet or so. It's also common to extend the protection areas in circuit to the side yards and area around the front door. And some people elect to cover the whole property. For our example, we're just going to design a system that will cover the backyard. It turns out there is a segment of our perimeter where the wall of the two-story house meets the pool deck, and it's not practical or wise to try to install nozzles there, so we'll eliminate that part of it. The next step is to measure the length of each segment of the perimeter and add it up. Ours totals up to 222 feet. Since the nozzles should be installed 10 feet apart, our example system would have around 22 nozzles. Broadly speaking, there are two families of nozzles. One family we call structure nozzles are usually installed on fences, the eaves of a house, or to trees. The second family are riser nozzles that usually are installed in landscaping beds, but may also be installed at the base of a stone or brick wall where it might be difficult to install structure nozzles. MistAway sells two different shapes of structure nozzles, one with a 45-degree adapter, which are most commonly installed overhead on eaves or a gazebo, but can also be installed on fences, and one with a straight adapter, which is most commonly used on fences or trees. Every structure nozzle requires a 1/4 inch union T to connect it to the tubing in the nozzle circuit. A nozzle placed at the end of a run can terminate with a 1/4 inch union elbow or with a metal plug inserted into a union T. Union elbows are also used when you need the nozzle circuit to turn a corner so that you don't kink the tubing. Structural nozzles and tubing are commonly mounted using what we call dyna clamps. The clamps are placed about every 2 feet on the run. You can also use coax cable staples to install tubing and nozzles. Our landscape risers are sold as assemblies with everything you need. Our system planner will calculate how much tubing you'll need as well as estimate the number of elbows, plugs, and dyna clamps you'll need based on the nozzle count you specify. So let's go back to our example. A wooden fence makes up about 130 feet of our perimeter, which means we'll need about 13 nozzles. We'll select the straight ones that we can mount through the fence. Another 70 feet of our perimeter will use overhead nozzles. In our case, there is an eave over the garage apartment and a wooden arbor that makes a really good installation surface. This will require about 7 of the 45-degree nozzles. So far, we've accounted for 20 nozzles, but this isn't an exact science. It turns out there is some pretty lush landscaping on the property where mosquitoes might harbor, and it would be a good idea to add some landscape risers to make sure we've got coverage. This will add another 8 nozzles. So we've got our nozzle circuit designed, 13 straight nozzles, 7 45-degree nozzles, and 8 landscape risers, so 28 in total. At 10 feet apart, we should plan for 280 feet of tubing to connect all of them. Now let's discuss where to place the misting unit. You'll need an electrical outlet with GFCI protection that the unit can reach without an extension cord, and the unit should be relatively near a faucet. Finally, you'll want to make sure to select a level area where the unit would not get soaked by the sprinkler system or hit by water coming off the roof. In our example, there are 2 possible locations. Here, near the pool pump, or here by the AC units in the side yard. Does it matter where we put it? The answer is, it can matter. Ideally, to avoid a problem where you don't get enough pressure to make all the nozzles flow as they should, you should try to place the unit somewhere near the middle of the nozzle circuit. In our case, if we place the unit by the pool pump and put a T in the line, one branch would feed the 14 nozzles shown in dark blue, and the other branch would feed the other 14 shown in light blue. In contrast, if we put the misting unit by the air conditioners, one branch of our T would feed the light blue run of 25 nozzles, and the other branch would feed the dark blue run with only 3 nozzles. For our example system with only 28 nozzles, it wouldn't be a problem. You'll have ample pressure in every nozzle, even if it's configured this way. But in a larger system, you can encounter pressure issues if you don't divide the flow by placing the unit somewhere close to the middle of the nozzle circuit. This is an example of a poorly designed system with the unit in the lower left feeding all the nozzles around the house in series. Our rule of thumb is to never install more than 35 nozzles in series on a run of 1/4-inch tubing. If you're planning a large system, say more than about 70 nozzles, please contact us for assistance. Thanks for watching.